Winter is upon us. We must look to our own.
Here we are in the heart of the Southern Alps. Behind us here is Mount Cook, which is New Zealand's highest mountain. We've been shooting in a location near Twizel.
One of the major locations in the third film is Lake Pukaki.
This is Lakeshore, the Lake Town refugee camp, which is where the remnants of the Lake Town people have ended up.
Before shooting, we had a cast read-through at the Mackenzie Country Inn with Peter and Fran and Philippa and all the cast, which was the first read-through we'd done in quite a while.
I'm imagining that this is the morning after. You know, the Lake Town burnt dragon attacked that night, and now this is sort of dawn of the very next morning.
One of the reasons why we did that was so that we could all sit down, be in the same place. And often that's the best thing that you can do, because then everyone's literally on the same page working towards the same objective.
Could be an eel.
You know, it's sort of like...
biting me, something,
you know.
It could be a big eel. It'd be funny.
I think they like suggestions, and if you come to Peter with an idea, or Philip or a friend, you can sort of say, hey, what do you think of this? And then they go, that's terrible. Or they go, that's brilliant, you know.
Both would have an attitude of, well, stuff you know, my brothers are dead and all for what?
Or perhaps I don't believe that they're...
No, that would be great. That would be a really good boat.
It's quite rare to have that sort of input and hands-on feel about what you end up saying in the film. It's a lovely process. And then after that, it was nice to get outdoors and work on such a expansive location.
Here we are on the lake. Lake Town's just been attacked by the biggest dragon in the world. We decided that when Smog attacked Lake Town, huge elements of the town would fall into the water and would drift to the edge.
I guess when Smog hit the water, the tidal wave had pushed all that stuff up onto the beach. And so Lake Pukaki was a very set dressing heavy project.
Before we started filming, we had a look at the shores of Lake Town from a chopper, and I remember looking at this vast beach thinking, oh Christ, you know, this is going to be epic.
The only thing is there's no real guarantee of what this beach is going to be like when we come here.
Between the time that we first recce'd the spot and the time when we actually arrived to dress the beach, the height of the lake had dropped and the beach was 3 times as deep as what it was when they first recce'd it. So in theory we needed 3 times as much product to dress it. Fortunately, we brought 6 truckloads of stuff with us. We weren't sure which little section of the beach we were going to dress, and we were told that Peter would like to come in the day before and we'll lock off a part of the beach that we're going to shoot on.
I mean, this is not bad. I mean, there was a nice shot just on the other side of that tree for one of the drama scenes.
We had kind of planned, you know, worst case scenario, we'd do 100 metres of beach line.
And so the director has been there, he has a vision, but then on the day that you get there, that vision, you know, the conditions are different, and so there is a better way to look at it.
We would bring a lot of that stuff in and do all this area, and maybe we get to do a bit of those hills back there, you know, if we've got the stuff on the hills.
And he said, yeah, this is good, let's use this bit and that bit, and let's do this bit up here on the grassy knoll, and that bit way off in the distance.
I mean, we should put as much shit as we can here, but it won't be as big a dressing job as it is up on the hill there, so...
So we're okay to start from the beginning now, aren't we?
Originally, the plan was to dress a small piece of beach. We dressed a couple of kilometres of Lake Pukaki.
It was roofs from Lake Town, it was smashed boats, it was pieces of chimney, we had old blankets, kids' toys, it was tons and tons of this burnt wood that we had
The struggle was all actually part of the method dressing in this case, because our team turned what was a really nice tidy beach into somewhat of a disaster zone. It's the wonderful thing about set dressing, you can never do too much.
Well, you know, it's another day at the beach, really, isn't it? I mean, what can I say? Well, we'd better get to work, I suppose. I don't know. Not much else going on. Just a bit of movie making. Another day in the sun. Another day in the sun.
When the camera's rolling, you know, we had our usual on-set team, but then we had about an additional 10 set dressers, I think.
Our department, and Ben in particular, who was the art director on set, didn't have enough to dress, you know, the whole place.
And sure enough, we were one busy art department.
That's good there.
I used to get quite frustrated because we'd race to get it dressed and they'd start shooting and then they'd decide to just tilt the camera up slightly.
I don't want to be high. I don't think I want it to be high. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
And from that 3 degrees of tilt that they tilted the camera, a third of our dressing was suddenly out of frame. And you were suddenly seeing this whole section of beach that was undressed.
Okay, all right, well, I'll clear that.
I just thought, oh God, and then Pete would be over the loudspeaker saying, oh, why is that piece of beach not dressed? Everything you lifted took it out of you, you know. That was some of the most massive dressing I've ever been involved with.
Our department was just grabbing everything from one end. We knew it was not in camera and just transporting everything on the other side. And then, okay, now the next shot, now we are turning completely around. It was a big job for Ben, and I think he lost a few kgs.
It was one of the biggest days I've ever had in my entire career. I don't think I stopped to eat or drink, or it was just go, 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 because every camera set up meant another whole ton of dressing had to be moved. It was, yeah. I got angry. I got angry that day.
You guys having fun?
Yeah, man.
Gave you a fake smile and then the real smile came through underneath.
Those days like that, you know, you get really caught up in the moment and it gets intense, but ultimately you're having a good time and you enjoyed that beer at the end of the day.
Locations are interesting because they are totally unpredictable. You really have to go with whatever weather you get for the most part. I mean, there's not a lot of choice. But here we are at this beautiful location and it's been fine, beautiful, crystal clear. It's supposed to be winter and cold and miserable, however, but the magic of movies will take care of that.
Background, 3, 2, 1.
Nice and cold, everybody shivering. Really feel the cold. Just pull those blankets tighter, hunch those shoulders.
Sweltering.
Obviously, in the film, it's meant to be wintertime, and we had days where it was 30 degrees because, you know, it's summertime in New Zealand.
Act like it's cold when it's really, really hot out and you're wearing fur.
I mean, we have to pretend everything else anyway, so pretending it's cold isn't any harder.
And you can actually make your teeth chatter if you try hard enough. You can go like...
Just keep that cold, shivery feel going, because it's miserable, it's wintry, frosty, it's freezing.
You're gluing wigs onto people, and when people get very hot, glue comes unstuck and wigs come off, because they're sweating all the time, and they're not meant to be sweating at all.
The sweat just adds to the look of the wetness.
So it's constant touching up and getting them to look cold, because it was so hot.
All the crew are swanning around in shorts and T-shirts while the extras are under 4 or 5 layers of heavy Middle-earth type clothing.
Yeah, it's not what I'd normally wear on a day like today. I'd much prefer to be in that.
How's the water?
Freaking freezing. But the contrast is that it was very hot, but then a few guys needed to be in the water. So even if 3/4 of the extras were boiling on the beach, the water was absolutely freezing. So there was a big contrast between the two.
I, of course, had the privilege of getting in Lake Pukaki, which was cold.
Help!
Lake Pukaki, apparently one of the coldest lakes in the world, and I can certainly attest to the truth of that.
It's so cold out there. There's no penguins out there. Penguins are going to warmer waters.
No. I mean, just go with it.
And should I do a big...
No. No.
Please?
This is not over the top. This is not a cartoon.
Right, sorry.
And you come in from behind and you just put your hand on her shoulder just to lever yourself up, and she goes under the water again. And you don't have to actually push her head. I think her shoulders will be fine.
Okay.
And I had to crawl across this stunt woman, and I think I just felt a bit mean.
Right place for the injured!
Because I had to push this woman underwater, and she was submerged completely. It took me so long to crawl in with these heavy clothes. I was convinced that when I rolled off her, she was just going to sort of float up with her eyes open and sort of fish hanging out of her mouth. You know what I mean? But she didn't. She was alive. I want to make that clear. I didn't kill a stunt person, no matter what the internet rumours may.
Off to the lake. Off to the holiday.
When we were casting extras around Lake Pukaki, we needed to get extras from that area.
Hi, Mum.
We put out word and we had big casting calls so that we would get locals.
We're going to start travelling everybody to set.
My wife was reading a local paper and I had an advert that they wanted unusual and bearded men, so she thought that I actually fitted very well.
So up rock these people, never been on a film set before, and they're like, Jesus, it takes a lot of people to make a bloody movie, doesn't it?
It's the first time I've actually ever done anything like this, and it's quite mind-blowing, actually, all the bits and pieces and all the gear and all the people.
Well, yeah, it's remarkable seeing how all this is done.
We wanted rugged outdoor types, and they're there. That's where they live, you know, and they looked right.
They were kind of down to earth, you know, country folk anyway. They were just really, they almost like looked like they lived on the land, you know.
And the great thing is they all know each other, so you get this kind of inbuilt community so that they gel better than getting a whole lot of complete separate individuals who suddenly have to be this village. We got this village from the people that lived in the area.
Just another face in the crowd.
They didn't complain. They didn't mind mucking in. They weren't a bunch of, you know, precious performers who didn't like getting their feet wet.
Who wants to be dead?
We don't have to do much acting.
Am I dead?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
The extras worked tirelessly, and it was fun. We had a good time there. They were great people.
Oh, thank you so much.
Johnny, can I help you, Marker?
Okay, let's roll it up while we're doing it.
Marker?
Rolling! Okay, everybody standing by. Absolute panicking and action! Screaming!
When we started filming, the extras were so good. They were so talented, and they would really get into it. And they were playing a difficult thing. They didn't have to just walk through a mall. They had to pretend that now they're homeless, they're freezing cold, and they've just watched the death of tons of their townsfolk. So these people are doing full-on acting 101, and they're doing it while we're trying to act. And that could, by rights, have been very distracting, but it wasn't, because this sense of chaos that should have been there was so alive and present.
And looking like you're going to cry, and one, you know, you can do it on the day for real, yeah.
You didn't really have to act, because when there's 200 people around you kind of crying and groaning, and there's wind machines, and because there's so much going on, you just get into it anyway. Your natural instincts kick in.
Obviously, a lot of the extras, they're always so enthusiastic. But from a sound recording point of view, sometimes when you tell an extra, okay, and I want you to act, and act, sometimes you wish you hadn't used that word.
We must go.
Come with you.
And you're like, hey guys, yeah, look, it's kind of important that when we're rolling, we're actually trying to get the dialogue over here. We only really want to hear what these two people are saying.
Keep it.
Seconds.
So could I just possibly ask you to mime? Hey? Could you just, yeah, so don't actually talk, but just pretend like... It's a bloody stupid thing to do.
When you're on set, you don't really want a whole lot of people talking in the background, and so quite often you will do replacement dialogue to try and fill in the gaps in the background.
Maybe a piece of wood fell off one of the burning houses and squished your hand. And so you've got 2 broken fingers and a bad burn up the side of your hand, and it really stings like quite a lot. Can you imagine that?
And so we brought in some children to record in a controlled environment to get a wider palette of things that you might be able to put into the scene. I think they had a great session. I wasn't at it, but I heard it was quite funny.
You are in pain, and you're suffering, and you're going, ah. You're just going to whimper and go, it hurts. You'll do it better than me because I'm not a kid anymore. That's good, actually. OK, so kids who are coughing because they're almost drowned. Fantastic. Who's next? OK.
I'm pretty sure your voices are put in here because I heard Piers.
Yeah, I heard voices and stuff.
There's like so many buttons.
Yeah. So who's going to get into post-production sound when they grow up?
I want to. But I also want to be a nurse. Oh, tell Peter Jackson I said hi. From Brooke.
So what Matt and I are now doing is thinking, as you do these things, we're thinking whereabouts in the movie your voice could go. Action.
You know, that is a flavour you would have there. I mean, the children would be upset, they'd be crying. They're cold, they're wet.
Please, someone.
You've got to have those textures so that you can have somewhere to go and really finish the scene.
Lovely. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much for your actions.
Cole, come on in, Cap. Come on in, from here. I'll have you.
You have to tell me why this is significant.
Because we may be seen on the movie. Significant to us.
Yeah, we usually stand in for characters and then wait until the camera and lighting are ready to go. Then when they're about to push record, that's when we go and sit down. Today, stand-ins get seen.
Stand-ins.
What a great day. It's a great day for stand-ins.
Great day for stand-ins.
Yay.
It was one of those days that we put Jamie in a costume and let him be an actual actor rather than a stand-in. No matter where the camera's pointing, 360 degrees all the way around, he's always there.
He made sure he was in every single shot that was filmed, which, you know, can be a problem in the cutting room.
He's in the back of every single
He has
shot.
managed to, when James and I cut the scene, we couldn't believe it. He's in the back of reverses, he's doing this angle, this angle, this
There
angle.
he is again.
And there must be twins or triplets, because he's sort of in several places at once. The little bastard manages to get himself in front of every bloody camera. Anyway.
I said, Master! No!
Yeah, I did have some experience with some of the Lake Town refugees. They were all very nice people.
Can I really kick out and stuff? I'm worried about kicking people in the face, but can I really like fight? These are stunt guys, I don't know, but everyone else. That's fine. I'm happy. Kick these two, they're bloody scary.
Everyone should we should get the whole group starting to turn on Alfred. And it just turns ugly, and people can be scowling at him, frowning at him. Some of you can look like you want to have a go. It's almost, even though the stunt guys are going to go and grab him, a lot of the rest of you should look like you're moving into you're going to pick up the bits that are left and tear those in half as well.
I like working with extras and having a lot of them, and they're all very excited to be here. Some a little more eager than others, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Throw him in the light! My trousers!
My legs were being pulled in all sorts of directions, and suddenly there was a huge rip, and the crotch of my trousers. You're going to show a photograph of that, which is going to be hugely embarrassing.
What have you done to his trousers? He didn't deserve that! He's a good watching!
Yeah, my trousers just completely split. And then Emma came on and sewed my trousers up, all to the clock, because you've got to do things very quickly, because we're about to reset.
Shall we just try shooting it, eh? And then we won't get it right?
So then my trousers proceeded to split every take then.
No, you stay away from me!
There was 4 stuntmen designated to lift Ryan up, but the crowds were so into it that they started to actually pull him up too.
Extras being extras, overexcited, they've got a specific action, interacting with a real actor, so it's a big moment for them. Do you know, another actor would act like you grab someone, you would act it. These guys didn't really have that border between acting and doing it physically. They basically destroyed the costume, even all the hair and everything. It was just like being pulled. And I remember makeup and costume just going, hey guys, you need to be gentle on that. No, these extras, just, we had to pull them back a little bit. They were getting way too excited.
And cut, lovely. We got that one.
Hey, well, look, thanks everybody, and a big thanks to all of our brave Blacktown citizens.
Victoria's Cross!
That was wonderful, thank you very much.
When we went on location, I remember I won the Victoria Cross.
And that's the VC, Victoria Cross, because that's Victoria.
One of our crew members, Victoria Sullivan, she's a script supervisor, or continuity is what some people would know the role as.
As you stop, do that and turn back.
Victoria, who's the continuity person, gives Victoria crosses for people who are very good at doing their own continuity, and it's something that we all strive to.
Continuity basically is making sure that if you're holding a prop in one scene and they cut and they come back to you, you're still holding that same prop.
And are the hands the right? Is it the right way on the hands? Is this one at the top?
You have to be really on top of your game and do everything exactly. And sometimes it's weeks between shooting that scene and shooting the next bit for it. You have to try and remember what hand was my sword in.
Okay, and action.
You want to keep it looking seamless so that when it's all cut together, it looks right. So that's, in a rough way, what Victoria would keep her eye on.
It's all about the cloak, or it's all about the not seeing the button, or it's all about, you know, keeping the collar up or keeping the collar down.
Yep, that's it.
It's hard to pinpoint bad continuity because we're hoping it never gets through.
We have to get out of here.
Of course it always does.
When you're watching a film, if the continuity's off, all you can see is that someone's hat was off in one scene and then it's suddenly back on again.
And, you know, continuity can be very frustrating because you are really at the hands of the actor. So to try to encourage the actors to think about continuity and to help her in her job, we started to create an award.
The Victoria Cross came into being when Luke Evans was doing a scene running across the rooftops in Lake Town.
But that doesn't matter about exactly how you do the thing, because what will be on you, it's just giving us that, the arm coming up each time.
All right, no problem. And he sent a message through, ask Victoria, did I hold the bow like this or did I hold the bow like that?
And I think I was the first one to ever catch her out on a movie.
And Peter heard it and he started laughing because he's always teasing me about continuity being for sissies.
Continuity is for sissies. Why don't we just shoot?
And he said, oh, you'll get a Victoria Cross from Victoria for asking that question.
Have a Victoria Cross that you can award.
Okay.
You can award actors who care about continuity.
Peter's very interested in things to do with the war, so he started telling me about the Victoria Cross.
British award for valour is called the Victoria Cross, and so we call this we call this Victoria's Cross.
So a medal of bravery, but from Victoria it's a medal of consistency.
And he ordered the art department to make a whole lot of Victoria Crosses. They put Smaug on it, and then they asked me what I wanted to put here, and I had continuity under fire. It's pretty cool. Everybody loves it. I love it.
Who's gotten them so far?
Just a few.
Only a few.
Yeah, but you were the first one.
I got the first manifestation of it. Actually, I think it was Luke Evans that really earned the first Victoria Cross.
Luke earned it because Luke is a dancer and Luke knows where his body is and what he's doing with his body when he's giving his performance.
I've always been a stickler for continuity. Everything has to be exactly right, and it has to be the same. I hate it if it's not the same, especially in movies.
This is the year. Oh. Richard needs continuity to anchor him into where he is and what he's doing. So, of course, he became another favourite. Mikhail Persbrandt was really good at knowing when he turned, when he moved, when he looked up and down. It's always the intuition of the actor is usually right.
Yeah, but I'm sure of this. When I got it, I didn't have a clue what it was.
I think the continuity factor maybe wasn't the most forefront of her mind when she was pinning this medal on their chest, which she did herself, slowly, lovingly.
Yeah, there's a continuing theme, isn't there? Good-looking men that got them.
Luke Evans, Richard Armitage, Mikhail Persbrandt. You know, it was the sexy ones, basically, let's be honest. Because you won't get Victoria being honest about it, so I may as well be honest.
Well, it's really easy to decide who to give them to. They've got to make me feel safe.
So I don't know whether or not really it was that serious. And I know at the end, about 2 weeks before the end, she says, oh, I've still got 20 of these awards to give out. And she started to sort of put them on very undeserving people. I think even I got one, and I have no respect for continuity, which shows you how bad that got. Well, it sort of rendered the whole thing a little bit without merit, in my view.
It's great. I like good actors. And anyone that makes life easier deserves a Victoria Cross.
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for deserving
Lovely.
it.
I'm very proud, very proud. Can I wear it every day out of my costume?
Oh, no, but
You didn't get a Victoria Cross.
He did get a Victoria Cross.
Brilliant. Sorry, I forgot.
Thanks, man.